How to be vulnerable. Wow, what a topic. Hi, I'm Kirby. I'm a specialist in trauma and attachment theory. And this is a fantastic topic. I'm very excited about this one because really, when I started this journey, no one could answer the question, how do you be vulnerable? 7, 8 years ago. And I'm like listening to all these podcasts and watching YouTube videos and reading books and blah, blah, blah. And their description of vulnerability was just like, again, recently shot another video about like trauma. And it's like, you ask someone what causes trauma, what is trauma, whatever. And they end up describing the traits of it. And so someone's like, well, what's vulnerability? And they say, well, vulnerability is talking about your emotions and experiencing your feelings and blah, 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 right? That they're talking about a lot of traits of the moment when you were being vulnerable, but it's like, what is kind of actually happening? What's the nature and flavor of vulnerability? And I'm just going to jump right into it because, like, this is my discovery. Like, the way I think about it, I'm going to share with you the way I think about it. I didn't get this from any book, any teacher, anything. This was something I deduced over time because it made the most sense for me. And then I took that out into the real world, live classes with real people and real clients, and said, is this model helpful? And god dang, yes. It's an absolute 1000% yes. Okay. And it's this. In nature, it's rare that something is black and white, right? We think about black and white, but there's all these multiple shades of gray in between. There's up and down, right? And there's all these shades. How much is this? How much is this up or is this down, right? There's spectrums. There is a continuum that is like, when it gets far enough away to this side, we're going to say it's left or up or good or white. And if it's far enough to that side, we're going to say it's left or wrong or black or whatever, right? Nature happens on spectrums. And it's only humans that we like to split things up into clear black and white ideas, even though it's clearly on a spectrum. So I'm thinking about this and I'm like, okay, if that's the way nature works, then vulnerability must be on a spectrum, right? Of course. We've got a little bit of vulnerability. We have more, a little bit of vulnerability. Hey, I'm feeling something right now. A little bit more vulnerability. It's like, oh, hey, I'm feeling sad and unsure right now. And then a lot of vulnerability. And it's just like, oh my God. And I'm crying and the emotions are pouring out of me. And I'm talking about all the various, emotional sensations I'm having inside me. And I'm sharing them with you. It's like, yeah, vulnerability is totally on a spectrum. I'm like, but that example just got me from vulnerable all the way back to kind of neutral or absence of vulnerability. If it's true that we're on a spectrum, there should be something that's opposite. What's out there on the other end, right? So the image I use in my classes, I'm like, imagine I've got a great big long stick, right? And at one end of the stick, I look and there's these words engraved on it and it says vulnerable. I'm like, okay, that's this end of the stick. Now I can walk down to the other end of the stick and I look on this end. What's the word that's engraved here? And the word that's engraved there is control. And I fully believe 1000% that vulnerability and control are at opposite ends of the spectrum. They are polar opposites from one another. If I am in a state of controlling my environment, controlling my emotions, controlling my speech, controlling my own reactivity, any aspect of my body, I am not being vulnerable. I am refusing to be in a state of open uncertainty. We could shift over to those words also. Vulnerability is uncertainty. Control is certainty. I like the control vulnerable words better, but the other ones work. So this image revealed something almost immediately that was just like my own brain just goes kaboosh, right? And I'm like, well, that means if I'm talking with someone and I feel like I'm in control of myself, I'm in control of the flow of the conversation, I'm in control of my environment, I'm in control of my feelings and the movement of my emotions and responding to this, then that must mean I'm not being very vulnerable. And so I went to these like discussion group things where people are trying to share openly and be very authentic and relate with one another. And it's like, oh yeah, sure enough. I would notice that in the moments that I get with a person and I feel like we're talking about some topic that I have expertise on, or, psychology or attachment theory or whatever, as soon as it gets into a realm where I have a good deal of knowledge and confidence and experience or whatever, then I realized that it was just like I can talk about this all day and be super comfortable and I can share emotions and everything else and I am in control the entire time. But something very different happens if I'm in that same environment talking to the same person and I say, what if I push myself to the point where I'm not in control? Like, what if I push myself to the point where like I'm digging into the place inside me where I don't actually feel like I'm in control, that I feel messy, that I feel uncertain, I feel scared about the emotions I'm feeling, the emotions the ideas that run through my head, the actual futures I might face. Like, what happens if I get into the place where I don't actually have so much certainty? And then I share from that place. And the difference is immediately palpable. Like, immediately, the people react differently when you are in this space of sharing my truest, deepest uncertainty. There's a difference there. And one of them is I'm going to call vulnerable. Vulnerability is the ability to be present and maintain your presence in a situation that is completely uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen next. And I definitely don't feel like I'm in control of any aspect of this exchange or dynamic or whatever. I mean, I guess I'm in control of myself and I can always like have a boundary and leave and et cetera, et cetera. But as far as the interaction, the communication pattern is like, I'm going to share this truth about me. And just in the sharing of it, I'm feeling fear. In the raw sharing of it, I feel this apprehension, this resistance. Why? Because I'm afraid of something. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid that you might reject me. I'm afraid that if I share this deepest truth of myself with you, it might not go the way that I want. It might lead to a place where we have separation, or you're judging me, or I'm feeling shame. That's vulnerability. So the neat thing about this stick metaphor with control on one side and vulnerability on the other is that allows me to kind of check myself and my degree of vulnerability at any given point in time, because humans are incredibly good at deceiving themselves. And I have done it so many times where I'm just sitting here having a conversation with someone, we're talking about stuff, and I'm sharing my emotions and stories of pain and misery and woe and whatever else. And I feel like I believe I'm being vulnerable because I'm talking about emotions, except I stop for a second and go inside and be like, which end of the stick am I holding? Am I like, how much do I feel like I'm in control of this situation? And it's just like, I totally got this. I'm super comfortable talking about my emotions. I'm super comfortable talking about that thing that happened to me. Like, I don't have any fear of uncertainty or whatever in this situation. It's like, if you're having sensations that feel like control and certainty and predictable outcome, then you're not being vulnerable, because that's at the opposite end of the stick. So I check myself on this often as I'm interacting with people, and many times even as I'm teaching or shooting these videos, and I'm just like, how much in control do I feel right now? And I'm like, plenty. I'm not really afraid of any kind of outcome right now. And I said, what could I do that would get me closer to a place where I'm actually feeling a little bit of fear about what I'm saying and what I'm sharing and everything else? And it's just like, oh, there it is. I'm like, ooh, that is uncomfortable. I do have fear around that. What happens if I say this on camera in the live and it shoots out to the internet and then people copy the videos and blah, 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 and I say something stupid and I mispronounce my words? If you've been watching enough of my videos, you know that I do that. It's one of the reasons I keep these videos very real and I don't script anything. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but yeah. I never script anything. No class, no video, no anything. I try to stay in this space where it's just like, I don't know what's going to happen. All I have is intent. All I have is the knowledge I've smashed into this brain of mine and the intent to help and share. And that's where I begin. And I just say, turn on the camera, let's go. And then from there, I created a position, an employed position for a local, livable wage for someone that lives in a third world country. And I taught her how to edit videos, and she worked for me 3 or 4 days a week. And I give her these videos, and she has learned how to chop them up and do color grading and post to YouTube and the whole thing. And they're not perfect, right? They don't need to be. Sometimes mistakes are made, and we see that, and we're just like, oh, that cut could have been better. Like, you could have moved that around a couple of seconds, and it just would have been a little bit smoother. No big deal. That's real. It's what happens. And if a couple of missed cuts causes someone to rage out or hate on my channel or unsubscribe or blah, 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 it's like, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. So it's this place of sitting in the uncertainty of what's going to happen next. And I don't know. I don't know the next thing I'm going to say. I don't know how I'm going to pronounce it. I don't know, whatever, right? Now, yeah, we got this noise of airplanes currently, and earlier this morning was chainsaws and motor scooters and everything else. And so we try to kind of stop during those time periods and let that die down so that we're not inundating the listeners with all sorts of extra buzz happening in these amazing microphones. But that can be frustrating. I can get to the point where I start feeling a lot of negative emotions. Because I'm just like, would you people please just be quiet? I literally got this place because it was advertised as quiet. And now it's just construction and chainsaws and traffic. I'm like, but I get over it. And I come back every day and I sit down in this chair with my lovely garden in the background. And I try to share what I see in the world and the way I see these problems arising. And in this particular one, vulnerability is an amazing, amazing skill to be able to sit down with intention and say, I don't know what the hell is going to happen next. I don't know if you're going to like me. I don't know if you're not going to like me. I don't know if you're going to feel the same thing I feel. I don't know if you're going to see things the same way I see things. I don't know if you're going to hear my words and then connect them in with whatever prior wounding you have and then project out some horrific story of a abuser and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you've seen those comments. Oh, look, here's a scooter now. I usually cut those out. But I'm leaving that one in just so you could tell what I'm talking about. Yeah, learn how to be vulnerable. Ask yourself, how often do I prefer to be in control? What does it feel like to be in a situation where I don't have control? And you would be stunned, I know I was, at the number of people that claim to be teachers, guides, healers, spiritual, enlightened, whatever. And if you pluck them out of their little circle of routine and you drop them into a situation where it's like there's real, legitimate consequence on the line, you don't know what's going to happen next. And you don't even know if people are going to be very judgmental or critical of you. And it blows my mind how many of those people will lose their shit. No judgment. I'm not trying to judge or say superior. I'm just trying to say that it's like, it is exposing a fundamental aspect of human psychology, which is like, we really, really, really like to have control, which is really predictability, which is really safety. We use control as a way of achieving feelings of predictability. Predictability has high associations with safety, because if the situation is extremely predictable, I can prepare for outcomes that feel bad and I can prevent them or avoid them entirely. In this way, honestly, this is one of the red flags to look for in relating and dating and everything else. How well does this person that I'm looking at, evaluating, vetting, How well does this person sit in complete and total uncertainty? Do they wade through it like it's some kind of playful dance? Green flags all over that one. The person that can wade through unpredictability and uncertainty and potential judgment and criticism, and they're just like, it's all life, baby, and we're just flowing, and I'm doing my best. No self-shame, no shame for others, no defensiveness. That's green flag of epic proportions. But the person that's like, you sit them down for the first date and they're adjusting the forks and like they order something and the waiter is like blah 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 and it's like, sorry, we don't have this one today, and it's like, what the hell, whatever. Person that came and deal with that much uncertainty, red flags all over. So this is how you achieve vulnerability, is you achieve vulnerability by saying, how scared am I to do this thing that I'm just about to do? And one of the beautiful things about this definition of vulnerability is that the goalposts keep moving, which means it's a continuous challenge for me to up my game and improve my life and to become more and more comfortable with deeper and deeper levels of vulnerability, which is uncertainty. Can I get to the point where I wade through uncertainty like a playful dance? Can I become that kind of person that is a green flag of epic proportions? Maybe, maybe not. Am I the kind of person that I am always holding on to that control end of the stick? And I basically reach down as far as I can and I put my nose over there and I'm just like, okay, I've still got my hand on control, but I'm sure pretending to be vulnerable. I'm saying all the words that sound like vulnerability. I'm using emotional language. I'm using psychology terms. I'm using spiritual blah vocab. I really, really want you to believe that I'm being vulnerable, but man, I will never let go of this stick of control. No way, no how. That's terrifying. Don't be like that. Up your game. Face the challenge. Sit with discomfort. Face the fear. Intentionally. Go after it like a playful game, like a playful dance. Can I sit with you and be connected with all the various bits of me that are unknown, unclassified, unpredictable? I don't even know what the hell's going on there. Can I sit here with you and can I share those bits of myself into this space and just be like, you might judge me, you might criticize me, this might end our friendship. You may see this thing I'm about to reveal about myself and you might say, oh my God, that's gross and disgusting. I don't ever want to be around you again. I'm sad. But that's not what happens. What usually happens is that other person is just like, oh my God, me too. I have a messy, ugly, unpredictable part just like that. And oh my God, thank you for sharing. The fact that you shared this into the space between me I feel seen and heard and warm and connected with you. And like, here, let me share my part too. And I'm so excited to be in this place where my yuckiness is okay. And then you have closer connection. You have more health and longevity in that relationship. That relationship is now deeper and stronger and resilient to everything. See how that works? Vulnerability creates connection. But vulnerability is not just jabbering out emotions and spiritual talk. Vulnerability is saying, I am going to intentionally connect with the parts of me that are scary and I'm terrified of sharing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when I do, I create an opportunity for a deep connection that is far beyond the surface level stuff. Not everyone will engage. Not everyone will say yes. Some people will be disgusted and leave. And it's just like, okay, well, how amazing is that? We can even reframe that in a positive light and say, well, I liked you. I enjoyed the time together. I kind of thought of you as a friend. It's a little bit sad that this is the choice, the path you choose. But how neat is it that now we know that I get to my most true, most exposed, most uncertain, vulnerable place. And I'm sharing a truth, my truth to you that is unquestionable. Like no one, like that is absolutely deep down no holds barred, no masks or shadows or anything. I'm sharing my absolute true self. And you think that's disgusting? We were never meant to be together to begin with. Like, okay, bye bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like, it's like we are obviously not in alignment. And how awesome is it that we get to know that now instead of 5 years down the road when we smash into this reality that, like, we've not been in alignment the entire time. That's particularly important for people that are dating and they want to start families, that kind of stuff. But it's important for everybody else too. Yeah. It's good stuff. Learn it, practice it, take the step, do it, face the shame, face the fear, be fearless. Practice. Find someone that is close and trusted and practice with them. And if it's, and you can't do that, use AI. Like, I just saw a thing yesterday that says when looked across a large data set, the number one use case for AI right now is companionship and therapy. So use that. Go up in the prompt and just be like, I want to practice being vulnerable. And this guy, Kirby, says that being vulnerable means facing my fears and exposing my messy bits into a place of safety with another human being. Well, it may not be safety. That's the whole thing, is that you don't know if this space is safe. That's worth talking about. You get these people, especially in spiritual retreats and stuff, and they'll be like, oh, I can totally be vulnerable in a safe space. Well, then it's not vulnerability. That's just regurgitation. No, it's like, it is how strong and powerful and courageous are you in the face of a situation that may not be safe. Now, if it's actively unsafe and you've already assessed that and you're like, oh, these people are shamey, blamey, critical, physically aggressive, whatever. If that's happening, then okay, sure. Like, don't go there. I mean, you still can if you want to up your game and be like, oh, I want to be an Olympic caliber vulnerabilist, whatever. Like, you can still take that challenge and say, I'm going to do that. But for most of us, no, we don't need to do that. Airplane. I'm not going to edit that out this time. Yeah, just don't go into a place that is actively unsafe. But if it's a situation where you're like, I don't know if this is safe yet, that's exactly where you need to be vulnerable. Because that resistance you feel inside yourself of like, I don't really want to go. Why should I share first? Oh my God, I've had this one with people too. Like, why should I share first? Like, I'm not going to share first. You have to share first. Like, you face the fear. And once you share your scary bits and come out into this space between us, then I'll do mine. Red flag, huge red flag. Using fear to justify, or no, it's using logic to justify your fear response. And then in one particular case, it was like that. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I go first. And they're just like, well, that's stupid. That's dumb. I don't want to do that. Well, thank you for telling me where you're at. Thank you for demonstrating your discomfort with vulnerability. And now I know everything I need to know about this relationship. Really. You can stay at the surface level and I'll maintain an interaction with you and be polite and friendly and all that kind of stuff. But at no point will I ever believe that this relationship is going to be anything more meaningful than surface level. And so that's particularly important if we're at the dating phase and this person's like literally moving towards me and wanting to engage in some way and be like, pfft. Like, if you think that degree of vulnerability is too scary, too dumb, too shameful, whatever, we can stop talking. This relationship has no future. And I get to make that call. Yeah. That's probably enough on the topic of vulnerability. I'm sure I could go on for hours on that one, but the last video I shot was very long. So that's me. That's my thoughts on vulnerability, how to practice it, how to get better at it, and the test case, which is how much am I in control? And if that is anything over a 1 or 2, then we're probably not being very vulnerable. So practice more. That's it. Awesome. Thank you guys. I believe you can do this. Peace.